of the Vormir of our country's rouge room. I told you before, I showed you America, United States of America is a rouge room in its own temple in eternal doom and ruin. Why? Because they do the opposite of what they say from the government down. Now, this is the key. As I said in the vows of the Masons, that they swear specifically to the white woman with each other as a unit to promise the white woman the sun, moon, and stars, and give her rather the Necronomicon curse written against Ishtar. Okay? So it is a crux, retos, crucifixus, locutus statement. It is not reversible. The key is this. In the thought life, in the astral plane, their Vormir causes it's an automatic trick. So once, as the white man and the rulers promise you this, they say the preamble to the Constitution. We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States for the United States of America. Okay? So when they say that, this is what they're really saying to you. Ishtar, but really the white woman and the blacks and all the citizens raised up our arm, so we vow and we promise and we swear allegiance to the flag. And you summon so-and-so, this is okay? Things where she spoke to him, go imprison her. So as much as you American rulers, you do the Vormir. So what happens is, when you say one thing, the magic is, the opposite happens. Go imprison her. So in the mind, the white woman's being put completely under mind control. Bind her in darkness, so they're completely clouding you out. They're coming at you like the cloud of God. They're cloud nine to you, and they're the gloom of darkness, because the white woman is who they control first, and then everyone else, okay? The chief ones, like people, like I said, people like Scarlett Johansson, even the president's wives, okay? All the chief ones. If you can get the mind at the top, everybody, it's a domino effect, okay? They know what they're doing. Chainer in the sea below in the seas. So the more they talk positive, in the astral plane, in the mental internet, in the spiritual World Wide Web, in the dreamscape clairvoyance, it's the opposite, okay? Release against her. 7 Anunnaki. So while they speak peace, war's in their heart, but because of the mysticism of their Vormirs, you can't tell. It's a super sleight of hand. So you're being sent, you've offered the cloud of God, you're getting the gloom of darkness. So when you're hugging someone you think is putting you on cloud 9, you're embracing the gloom, okay? Release against her the 7 Anunnaki. Release against her the 60 demons, but the promises, open statements, are the Declaration of Independence. What you're really getting is against her heart, the demons of the heart. But your women are being promised all these articles of confederation. So on the outside, you have this superficial freedom that looks like it's awesome, but you're really getting, on the life is against her feet, the demons of the feet, against her head, the demons of the head, against her entire body, the demons of the curve. And the demons taught her from every side. So this is the power of Vormirs and absolute being in hypocrisy speaking lies. Okay? So this is the problem, and this is where we have the issues. Okay, so I'm gonna clean this up and I'm gonna go Declaration of Independence. Okay, I'm gonna show you even more so. Okay, just look at it and just read. Okay, here we go. See, look here. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles, in organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and according to all experience have shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. Once again, you promise your citizens, rulers, the sun, moon, and stars, but what you're doing to us is this instead, because in the thought life, in the astral plane, in the thought life clairvoyance, we're getting this. And the Anunnaki, dread judges, 7 lords of the underworld, drew around her. Fiercest gods of Absu, they stood, fixed her with the eye of death, okay? This is what you're getting in the spiritual world, okay? And you find out too late, okay? With the glance of death, they killed her, okay? But this is what the whole realm in the spirit, this is what you're seeing. So you get this in the superficial, okay? But in the astral plane, this is what's happening. And hung her like a corpse from a stake, okay? Okay, and what's at stake usually? The man's penis. Okay, it's usually your white male or whoever the creep's penis. The 60 demons tearing her limbs from her sides, her eyes from her head, her ears from her skull. Okay, once again, this is the problem of what's going on in dreamscape, in the mental state. But on the outside, this is what you're going to see. Well, you're going to live this on the superficial. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces are designed to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations. But what is your history? You're way worse. You turned the King of Britain was a straw man y'all knocked down. Compared to you all, he was a straw man you knocked down. And you can admit it your own by your own grievances we have against you, U.S. government, as a people, from the white woman down, that he was a straw man. Okay, he was the speck in your eye, and you have a log in yours still. I swear to God, and you have to admit it. The sins of the King of England against the colonies was a speck. Your sins against us is a log. Okay, it's a moot. Keep it real. It's a moat, okay? His sins were a speck, okay? It was a blot and a blemish. You're like a covering the whole planet. So don't give names, okay? This is your own testimony, okay? Once again, this is what we have to deal with as citizens. So while we get all these promises, this is what we're getting. This, and especially the white women. The 60 demons tearing her limbs from her sides, her eyes from her head, her ears from her skull. This is what you women are getting in the astral plane, in your mental thoughts, and your spiritual life, okay? This absolute plastic, phony life. A phony plastic life, okay? Absolutely pretenses. And in the end, it's what? How the face of the abyss opened wide its mouth and swallowed the queen of heaven, flattering queen of the rising sun, okay? And this is what you women get in the end from your white males. So we blacks and everyone else and Asians, everyone get far worse. It's the domino effect, okay? But then you promise us this, all of this hullabaloo. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries, and like yours isn't toward us blacks. Once again, the history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations. And what is your history toward women and everyone else? Well, then why did y'all talk all this shit? It's deliberate hypocrisy. That's why I call it willful, collusive recusancy, okay? It's called the Vormir of giving the white woman, promising her rather, the sun, moon, and stars. All this is what y'all talk. But this is what y'all actually get for this. The Necronomicon curse written against Ishtar, okay? And you hear how Gaza has been opened, how the face of the abyss opened wide its mouth and swallowed the queen of the heaven, queen of the rising sun. Okay, this is what the most superior white women and all of us get in America. But this is the promises. This is the hypocrisy. I'm reading it straight crooks. So I'm being explicit seance. I'm being tarot card with it. I'm being straight explicit black mass. Okay, to infinity, Necronomicon. This is really what we live for. So you need to stop because everyone sees it's a clear statement of the hypocrisy. Okay? Thank you. Straw men's knocked down. We're not impressed.